Well, in our last video, we took a look at edging our sidewalks, and the goal was to create a nice clean border between our sidewalks and our lawn. In today's video, we're going to look at edging our flower beds, and the goal here is pretty much the same. We want to create a nice clean boundary between our flower beds and our lawn. And then we're going to lay down a nice fresh layer of mulch to have everything looking fresh for summer. Well, it seems no matter how well we try to maintain our beds throughout the year, every spring they always need some extra work to make the edges look crisp and the mulch look fresh for a new season. Months of growth, erosion, heavy snow, and rain can quickly turn flower beds from looking fresh to looking neglected. Today, we're going to show you how to spruce them back up, redefine those edges, and lay down some new mulch. So to get started, the first thing we're going to do is take a look at what kinds of tools you can use to edge. The first option is a motorized walk-behind style edger. This is a much larger edger, but it's really great at putting in brand new flower beds, as you can see here in this video from Ken Underhill. He demonstrates how easy it can be to create brand new flower beds and also redefine the edges of existing beds. This next option we see, demonstrated by Pete over at GCI Turf, is called a bed redefiner. And this is going to allow you to quickly redefine those edges without a lot of effort. Of course, there's also manual options, and Carl over at Happy's Lawn Care demonstrates how to skillfully redefine your beds using a spade. It is a little bit more work, but it creates a beautiful edge. And finally, along the same lines as the spade, we're going to use this metal scraper. I find it creates a nice, crisp, deep edge, but without all the back work. So how do you pick which tool to use? Well, first of all, take a look at how big your job is. Obviously, something motorized is going to make that a lot easier. Also, think about your finished product. The motorized bed edgers and redefiners might make the job a little easier, but they're not going to create as clean of an edge along your beds as the manual spade and scraper will do. And that's the main reason why I chose to use the metal scraper to do my edges. So let's get started. To edge your flower beds, you're going to recreate a clean line between the grass and the bed. What you're going to do is cut along the edge and remove the soil between the flower bed and the lawn to make a trench. Now, the depth of the trench is really a personal preference, but it should be deep enough to hold the new mulch that we're going to lay down. Now, I've created quite a deep trench because I like a really dramatic and distinct edge between the grass and my flower beds. But remember, the deeper the trench, the more soil you're going to have to remove. Now, a few things to keep in mind while edging. First, always mark out the shape of your edge before you start. It's going to help you to keep a nice straight edge as you move along your bed. Next, it's always a great idea to wait till after a rain. It makes it a lot easier to dig out the soil as you're creating your edge. And finally, as we mentioned earlier, I believe spades and scrapers work the best. They allow you to overlap each cut to maintain a nice straight edge along your flower bed, and they allow you to use your body weight for less physical strain. So now let's head outside and cut some of these edges. Alright, so here's the final product. We now have a nice clean edge between the lawn and the flower beds, and we've also got a nice deep trench so that we can lay down a new layer of mulch and keep the mulch in the beds and not overflowing into the lawn. Finally, take this time to remove any thick layers of old mulch, pull any weeds you might see, and prepare the area to lay down a fresh layer of new mulch. So why mulch your beds, you might ask? Well, first, mulch helps to retain moisture and reduce the amount of watering that you'll need to do. It also provides valuable nutrients to the plants and your soil. Also, mulch creates a natural barrier to help prevent weeds, allowing you to do less work to maintain your beds. Mulch also protects the plant from frost damage and reduces soil erosion and compaction. Finally, it visually enhances your flower beds and your edging, creating a nice contrast between the grass, the beds, and your plants. So there's a wide variety of styles of mulch that you can use. The first is pine bark. Pine bark is typically a much larger or coarser style product. You'll notice large chunks of bark within this material. Now, if you compare pine bark to shredded mulch, you'll notice that the shredded mulch is much smaller. But be sure, if you use shredded mulch, to only use natural products and avoid those materials made from pallets or scrap wood. Now, as an alternative to shredded mulch, there is a rubber mulch option, which does typically cost more, but it does last longer and reduces the occasional issues that are often caused by wood products, including mold and termites. If traditional mulch is not your preference, pine needles might be a good option for you. You'll often see this type of bed cover used frequently in the South. Finally, another great option would be stone products. Pea gravel or river rock make great bed cover. They last longer and stay cleaner, saving you money in the long run, as it doesn't need to be replaced each season like traditional mulch. In the end, the product you choose comes down to personal preference, cost, and application. Consider how much you'll need, where it's going, and what you want your final product to look like before choosing your material. Also, consider whether to buy bags or buy your product in bulk. Buying in bulk is often less expensive, but you'll have to weigh the cost and conveniences to ultimately choose what product you're going to use. So once you've finally figured out what product you're going to use, let's talk about how to lay your mulch. First of all, you've got to measure and determine how much mulch you're going to need. Be sure to check out our next video where we walk you through how to calculate how much mulch you're going to need for your beds. No matter how many beds you have, plan to lay down about 2 to 3 inches of new mulch. Avoid going any thicker. You may also want to remove any old mulch first before laying down your new mulch. And while you're at it, consider a fabric weed barrier as well to help keep the weeds out. When you're laying down your mulch, lay down small piles of mulch at a time and spread it out evenly, being careful not to cover trunks, root systems, or causing any area to have mulch thicker than 2 or 3 inches. With these tips in mind, let's head outside and lay down some new mulch on our newly edged beds. Well, today we redefined the edges of our beds by creating a straight edge along the bed and removing soil to make a deeper trench. Then we came and put down a fresh layer of natural mulch, about 2 to 3 inches thick, making sure to spread it evenly and carefully around our plants, root systems, and tree trunks. The end result is not only functional by providing a clean edge between our lawn and flower beds, but also by helping to retain moisture and nutrients for our plants. And of course, it's a pretty quick and easy way to spruce up your curb appeal. We want to again thank Ken for demonstrating his bed edger, and Pete at GCI Turf for showing us how a bed redefiner can quickly clean up an edge, and finally Carl at Happy's Lawn Care for demonstrating how nice a spade can really clean up an edge. Go check out their pages for some great information, and don't forget to watch our next video where we talk about the math needed to calculate how much mulch you'll need to order for your next project. Thanks for watching today, and don't forget to hit subscribe below.